So that's what
I think what.
Doesn't help.
Sarah, do you leave tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yeah,
Oh.
yeah. I have to drive to Boston in the afternoon.
Good luck. Have a great trip.
Thank you. I would very much like to go,
Love you guys. A few more minutes before we start. And then when you want to go, just press the button on your mic till you have a green light and then you're.
We can mute ourselves. but-
You can't touch it again until it's amber is on. So. They go back on the chairs.
Trustees.
No.
He.
I did, just in case I can.
So you have this trustees.
Yeah.
She didn't even say anything.
And I was like, completely. It's like, I don't want.
Yeah.
Like in my head, as I'm sitting there, just like, but he's. I was like. Sounds like the same thing. But you know, that's what's on me.
Oh, no, just had all the time.
Frequently. And
Yeah.
I forgot the card.
I mean, we're just say that. Sherry, you look a little fan.
You look good.
I was trying to be careful. You could probably get good vacation. Yeah.
Nice. That's you, right?
So good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Monday, July 10th, 2023 Board of Trustees meeting. We're going to do a couple little orders of business here, and then we'll get right into public participation. The first order of business is trustee oath of office. It's on page 2 of the agenda. So I think yeah.
So,
You turn your microphone.
it's gonna be, but I'm not doing this, I'm just swearing you.
Yes, Remy.
All right, so, we're gonna swear in Mark Kissinger. Okay, we're gonna swear in Mark Kissinger as, the library trustee president of the board. And do you want to repeat after me?
Sure.
We're gonna do this?
Yep.
Okay. So, Mark, I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of New York,
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge, according to the best of my ability, the duties of the office of president.
that I will faithfully discharge, according to the best of my abilities, the duties and office of Bethlehem Public Library trustee. Okay, thank you. Now I will swear in Caroline. Caroline, repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of New York,
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge, according to the best of my ability, the duties of the office of Bethlehem Public Library trustee.
and that I will faithfully discharge, according to the best of my ability, the duties of the office of Bethlehem Public Library trustee.
Okay, great, thanks. So the next order of business is election of board officers. So I will give it to the nominating committee.
Don't have to hold it, just wait till it's green. Green?
There we go. Sarah and I, as the nominating committee, met and discussed extensively what we think the best path for the board is. And we think that the best path forward is to maintain the current slate of officers. Everyone weighed in about their interests, and we think that everyone has served their roles well. And we think that considering the agenda for the year ahead, that stability and understanding your role is the most beneficial to the board. We do want to thank Mark for staying on as president, because we know that that is a significant time commitment. And we also discussed that we hope that regardless of everyone's role, that there are many roles on the board, everyone's named role, that there are many roles on the board that require significant extra time and effort and input. And we hope that everyone will take on one of those roles so that there is equity in the time distribution spent on things throughout the year. Sarah, did you want to add anything? No.
Okay, I think I need a motion.
Accordingly, I make a motion to maintain the slate of officers as it was for the 2021-22, was it 22-23 board year for the 23-24 board year.
And I second it.
Okay, any discussion?
I would just suggest, because not everyone can see the name tag, just to read the names.
Certainly. So we nominate Mark Kissinger as president, Michelle Walsh as vice president, Charmaine, and I do this every time. I'm going to massacre your last name, so I'm just going to let you say it.
We just sing our.
Thank you. Myself, Caroline Brancatella as secretary, Sarah Patterson as trustee, and Lisa Scooms as trustee and the UHLS representative.
Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying yes or raising your hand. Seeing no opposition, that motion carries. Okay, now we're going to move into public participation part of the meeting. And it's, I'm glad to see a lot of people here today. We're going to do per the public participation policy, which is a maximum of 3 minutes per person. And I think we're going to do it having people line up to speak. We're going to strictly enforce the 3 minutes, so we're not here forever. The maximum per the policy is 30 minutes. So we want to hear from people, but we'll give everyone 3 minutes. Do I have any volunteers to speak?
There.
Yeah, please state your name and where you're from.
Bill Kelleher, St. Helens. Hi, am I on?
You're on.
Oh, okay. Good evening, Mr. President and Bethlehem Tribe Library Trustees. My name is Bill Kelleher, and I've been a library patron for the last 50+ years. In that time, I have never come across a library program that was the least bit controversial. Currently, however, that does not seem to be the case. I find it hard to believe that this Board of Trustees sees no harm in their decision to promote Drag Queen Story Hour. One would have to be totally isolated and unaware of what is happening in our schools and society in general. To put it bluntly, there's a concerted effort to sexualize our children. It is taking place now and everywhere else across this country. Efforts are being made to confuse the sexuality of our children as part of a plan to destroy the nuclear family. In California, legislation is pending that could have parents accused of child abuse if they do not affirm their child's gender choice. Many of you are not old enough to recall the McMartin preschool case. In that case, parents were convinced that their children were being subjected to sex abuse by the owners of the daycare facility. Hysteria ensued with outrageous accusations of children having sex with animals like giraffes, elephants, and horses. Interestingly, the psychological community, the legal community, and other parents rapidly joined to support the accusers. Common sense logic was thrown out the window, and the McMartin family was devastated. With the above in mind, you might ask, what does this have to do with our library program of Drag Queen Story Hour? In my opinion, this story hour is something akin to a gateway drug. Nothing much to worry about and seemingly innocent on the surface. Consider this, however, that what you are promoting is a desensitization of our very young children. At the very least, the planting of seeds of sexual confusion in their tiny brains. Today, it's just story hour. Tomorrow, when they get to school and they're told there's no such thing as boys and girls, a memory is triggered and they recall the man dressed up like a lady who read them stories. It must be true. Couple this with the fact that they're also being told that their parents should be kept in the dark about all this and that they are the ones capable of making life-changing decisions without parental input. As you can see, it's not a favorable outcome. Please reconsider and cancel this program. Don't be a part of the hysterical crowd like the parents in the McMartin case. Don't be part of a cause based on raw hysteria and extremely faulty science. Not much imagination is required to see the final results of all this. Thousands of our children will be left as emotional wrecks and physically maimed forever. Drag queens in the adult world are one thing. Adults can choose to participate or not. Foisting this material upon our children does no one any good, especially our kids.
Good evening, folks. My name is Steve Simons. I've been a resident of Bethlehem for 29 years. I'm a former school psychologist, director of special education, trained as an educational psychologist, and have been in the field of human performance for over 35 years. I refuse to count any higher. My point here is that my entire professional career has been focused on how people grow, evolve, and become. And the latest research that we see, it just continues to expand the plasticity, the neuroplasticity of the human brain, and on and on and on. As I noted in my email that I sent to Jeffrey, the American Medical Association has now changed its age of maturity to 26 years of age. So up until that age, they're saying they're not even mature enough yet. If you ever get a chance to read the book, The Teenage Brain, written by a mother.
Can't hear you over the mic.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you get closer to the mic.
I'm sorry, you should have hollered. The book The Teenage Brain, written by a neurologist and a mother about her two teenagers, as well as research. It's all very, very clear. This entire concept contradicts everything that we know about how fertile and overly malleable the young person's brain is. It's a bad step, and it's not anything to contribute to this, unfortunately, continuing to descend and spiral downward society that we are in.
Hello. Good evening, everybody. My name is Michelle Kelleher. I am a mom, a grandmother, and a great-grandmother. I have been a physical therapist in this community since 1975 and a library patron that entire time. My children all attended and graduated from the Bethlehem School District. When I first learned of the library sponsoring a drag queen story hour, I was more than upset. It seems to me that this library is going out of its way to promote an agenda that is extremely harmful. There's no plausible good to be gained from exposing young children to obviously very adult themes. All of you are aware that children's brains are not fully developed until the early 20s. It would seem to me that the library should be in the business of protecting our most precious resource, not acclimating them to an ideology that is dangerous and severely harmful. This program is just the first step in acclimating our children to the transgender ideology. This is leading to children making adult decisions and hiding it from parents. The medical procedures that thus promoted will leave us with a generation of sterile and barren adults. Persons over 21 are capable of making their own decisions legally, and I have no problem with that. Preschoolers and elementary students are not. It is up to rational adults to protect them, do the right thing, and cancel this quote unquote show.
Yeah, my name is Elizabeth Floyd Mayer, and I am a resident of. My name is Elizabeth Floyd Mayer. I'm a resident of Guilderland, which is part of the Upper Hudson Library System. So this is also my library. This whole system is my library. So I wanted to speak about this. It was because I was interested in the world and in learning about cultures that are different from my own. That in college, I studied Arabic and Japanese, and then went to Japan and lived there for 15 years to work and study. When I came back to this country and I had a child of my own, I wanted to try as often as I possibly could to show her that the world is varied and rich and interesting. So I would take her as many places. I would take her to Thatcher Park, Howe Caverns, an event at the Albany Institute where kids could wear ancient Egyptian jewelry and try on Egyptian style makeup. I would take her to a klezmer concert at the Guilderland Library. I wanted her to always be aware that the world was bigger than Guilderland and a small white suburb outside of Albany, which is a small town in my view. So I wanted her to see that the world is bigger than what she can see, and that she needs to look for different people with different perspectives and different worldviews and try to respect them and to understand them. If there had ever been at that time a drag story hour at the local library, I would have been all over that. I would have taken her to that because if she has a chance to watch somebody read a story while wearing a fabulous outfit and just demonstrating a fabulous sense of humor and giving some kind of new twist to the song, The Wheels on the Bus, why would I not? This is not a strip show. This is just a person being vivacious and fabulous. And I would absolutely take my kid to that. So if that's not how you feel, then by all means, stay home. Don't come to the drag story hour, but don't tell me that I can't bring my kid to it. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Anthony. I am not a preschooler. I'm not a drag queen. I love living in the town of Bethlehem. I pay my taxes. I go to the library. I go to the pool. I go to work. I go for a hike. It's a great place to live. I'm here tonight in support of diverse library programming, including Drag Queen Story Hour. I am saddened that the political outrage machine that brought so many people here to the library, like our friend in my neighbor and colleague in the suspenders mentioned, are concerned that exposure to gay or trans or gender nonconforming people sexualizes children. This is doublespeak, which is from a book that you could find in the library, intended to scare people. We all want to protect kids from traumatic and inappropriate experiences. It's extremely unfortunate to channel this concern into homophobia and transphobia, and unfortunately distracts from real dangers that children face. So let's talk a little bit about being sexualized as children. In elementary school, I did not benefit from being lined up in hand-holding pairs of girls and boys to return from recess. I did not benefit from learning all girl parts in ballroom dance units in gym class. I did not benefit from being required to wear a skirt and pantyhose to perform in the middle school band recital. Although I suppose the band teacher may have benefited, as he was caught the year following attempting to meet up with an FBI agent he believed to be a 12-year-old girl. But that was all okay because I was female assigned. I was supposed to be a girl. I wish I had more gender expansive role models when I was young. A glimpse of a world with options would have been a godsend to me as a kid. Instead, I felt like Alf. When kids asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, I would panic and make something up like orthodontist, because the truth was that I could not picture myself as an adult, because I was very aware at all times that none of the adults in my life were anything like me. I'm grateful that I eventually found queer community and eventually developed a sense of self that allows me to live authentically and contribute meaningfully to society. Kids who might be trans or queer benefit tremendously from developmentally appropriate exposure to people of similar experience. Children of all genders and orientations benefit from learning to appreciate and respect people who are different from themselves. No one is forcing any parent to bring their kid to the library this Thursday. If you're raising a diabetic, you should skip cookie story time. If your child is terrified of dogs, please do not bring them to read stories aloud to dogs. If you are raising a child to be deeply afraid of LGBTQ people, you may want to skip Drag Queen Story Hour. I am proud to live in New York State where there are solid civil rights laws to protect each one of us from discrimination based on our real or perceived gender identity. If you need a little extra help from the government to make sure you don't encounter anyone you might learn something from, there are several states moving toward fundamentalist theocracy where you might prefer to reside. I want to thank the Library Board of Trustees and staff for your bravery and patience in this important moment. Thank you for all the work you do to plan events that appeal to different interests and for making our library such a welcoming place. I'm really nervous.
And my name is Tom Schnur. I'm a library patron and resident of Delmar. I love coming here. My 3-year-old daughter loves coming here. And I want to thank the library staff, the volunteers, for putting this event on. I want to thank the folks who took abuse on social media for having the temerity to suggest that this is something that some folks in town might have value in. There are 20 events for kids and families at the library this month. There's something for everybody. I encourage folks and residents of this town, folks from Guilderland or other towns who are part of the Upper Hudson Library system, to come to an event that's right for them. That's one of the crown jewels of this town, is the building we're all standing in right now. It's something we can all be proud of. I will note the library trustees took an oath to the United States Constitution tonight. That's a constitution that enshrines plurality, freedom of expression, whether that be an address, pants, or whatever. So I want to thank you for upholding that oath, for upholding the First Amendment rights of the volunteers who choose to spend their time here, who choose to give their time to children. And I want to thank you for what you're doing and urge you to keep this event on. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
No.
No?
You can always take it off the stand.
Oh, okay, take it off here. Okay, is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, hello, everyone. My name is Fran Royo. I'm a Bethlehem resident. I've also been a school librarian for over 20 years. And I'm here to object to the drag queen story out. And I want to make 4 points to me. One is, I think that, as you can see from the crowd here, from the crowd here tonight, that this is a very divisive question. And I think that that is one of the main reasons why I don't understand why the library chose to do this, because we're dividing the town. It's obvious just from the group that's here tonight that this is going to be a very big divide in the town of Bethlehem. Now, a lot of people have been asking, and the points I'm going to make are to people who are opposing this and what they can do, because it hasn't been really clear what you can do. And there's an important thing to know, that there's a formal complaint process here at the library. And please correct me if I'm wrong about this, okay? But there's a form that you have to fill out. And until you fill out that form, your objection is not officially recorded. And your voice isn't really heard. And you lose out on the process of appealing to the Board of Trustees for reconsideration. So unfortunately, the form is very difficult to find on the webpage. I finally had to call the library myself to ask how to find the form. And I won't walk you through that because it's too complicated. So the best thing to do, if you want to have an official formal complaint that will be registered with the library, you need to call them and ask them to send you a link to the form. You just fill it in online and you can submit it. But without that, your objection is just noted as a simple objection, but you can't take it any further than that. Is that right, Jeff? About the form?
The form's on the website.
On the website, okay. But
Is the objection as well? As you,
yeah, it's very hard to find. In fact, when I called tonight,
it has to be in writing. Is that correct
You
as
can
well?
address, well, this is public comment period. I want to take your time, but you're also addressing the board right now.
okay, all right. Well, maybe we can have questions at the end. Okay, but a librarian actually had to, she was having trouble finding it on the webpage, one of the Bethlehem librarians tonight, to tell me where the form was. So it's hard. Okay.
20 seconds.
Now, 20 seconds. Okay. Now, people have been, I covered that. Okay. Now, here's the other thing. This is such a hot button issue that I am very much in favor of having a town-wide referendum on this, because the residents of Bethlehem fund the library.
And the library is one more question.
Time.
I'll be out in the hall taking anybody's email, and I have a handout for anybody who wants to read something very interesting. Thank you.
No, we're short of time, so I'll try and be quick. Most of my life has been considered really tasteless. To represent people by dressing up in black, making yourself up in blackface, and basically, you know, exaggerating our features and stuff. And I remember the days before when it was cool, and as things change, and I'm wondering if having a man presenting to a bunch of children that it's all right to dress up, not just dress up, but wear stuff on your clothes to exaggerate your female characteristics, is not on the road back to making stuff like blackface fashionable again. I mean, so it's insulting, you know, have a sense of humor, stuff like that. No, it went further than that. I can tell you, I lived it. Is it possible to maybe have this presenter, this reader, just dress like a normal woman, so you're not giving children the impression that it's cool and fun to make fun of people's differences? I've been down that damn road, and it was a long, hard fight to straighten the crap out. You know, seriously, I'm not the only black person who says, where the hell are we going with this stuff? You're just caring about, oh, little things like, are we making it cool to make fun of people? And I thought that was something you were against. And see what look this crap up and see what blackface has done to a race of people who did nothing to deserve it, and ask yourself how nobody outside the black community is bringing this up or it's being heard. It's not a small thing with a whole lot of us, especially those of us who lived through it. Thank you.
I'm just gonna interrupt for a second. Please note that you're on YouTube. So when you turn around, you're presenting your backside to YouTube. So that's fine if you want to, but please note that, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Message got across, I think people understand.
If people can state their names and where they're from too. Thanks.
My name is Earl Wallace. Most people call me Pastor Earl. I'm the pastor of Liberty Christian Fellowship Church. And 18 plus may get rid of us. And I do not appreciate people bringing race into this issue. I'm a black person and I'm not in agreement with drag queen story hours. So anybody who wants to make it into a white or black issue, you're not speaking for me. I think we should just leave race out of it. You took an oath to the New York State Constitution and to the US Constitution. There is a biblical basis to America's Bill of Rights. When God says, thou shalt not murder, in 10 Commandment number 6, thou shalt not sexually molest or confuse or malign in 10 Commandment number 7. Thou shalt not steal in 10 Commandments number 8.
Excuse me.
Thou shalt not lie to or about people in 10 Commandments number 9. And thou shalt not covet people's 4 Ps, our persons, our people, our positions, and our possessions. He's saying everybody has a right for those things not to happen to them. I have taught leadership on 4 continents. If you go look on the blades, I'm the black person holding the Christian flag in front of Boston Federal Court. We won 9-0 May 2nd against the at the US Supreme Court. And the US Supreme Court said in the First Amendment Constitution free speech flag case that we have a right for Christian speech to be involved in public policy and in public spaces. So we also won the Coach Kennedy prayer case, which rolled back Kutzner versus Lemon, known as the Lemon test at the Supreme Court, whereby the Supreme Court said in 71 that if there's going to be any activity on public property, it has to essentially have a secular purpose. They said that is not in alignment with US constitutional history. There is a biblical basis to our Bill of Rights. America started by biblical Christianity. The people coming here were fleeing the government enforcement of other religions in Europe. Our inalienable rights are enumerated in the Ten Commandments, and we have a right in public policy to be binary. God made us male and female. Please don't go down this road. 18 plus may get rid of us.
Well, I formally object myself, but I also wanted to voice a couple of questions to the board, if I may.
Well, first, what's your name and where you're from?
Kelly Gertz, Glenmont.
Okay.
Is what was behind this? I mean, who brought this into fruition? Was it just the board itself? Can you tell me how it all started? Who was behind it and who's endorsing it? I'm not basically talking to citizens, parents, moms, dads, children. I'm talking more, who put this together government-wise? Was there different entities involved? The school board, the town board, teachers, who was basically behind this?
We're not, this is not a Q&A session. This is more of just public comment. I mean, we can talk, but when it's over, we can talk about it more and give you some answers. But we're just not an individual Q&A session here tonight.
You just can't answer a couple of questions.
Yeah, there's no formal person behind this. This was brought.
Well, I mean, I'm not looking at conspiracy. I'm just saying, how did it come to be?
It's a program. It's a summer program in the library.
That the library put together?
That the library is running the program.
Was anybody else behind it besides the library?
Point of order.
Yeah.
You said that we're not doing.
Right, so,
now.
yeah, so.
You said you're not doing questions, so I don't start answering.
Yeah, I'm just trying to move the process forward.
Right.
So we can engage in this after the meeting or at the, there's another public participation.
All right, formally object.
Okay, thank you. Next.
Hi there.
Hi.
My name is Delta Coughlin. I'd like to thank you for this opportunity.
Microphone.
Oh, sorry. My name is Delta Coughlin. I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to voice my concern against Drag Queen Story Hour. As a grandmother of 2 children who live in this community, I need to stand up and I need to speak out against this for the children and the community. This is not appropriate. I don't know. I just want you to know I have nothing against drag queen performance for adults and not for children. I assume no one checked out Noelle Diamond's Facebook page. Here are some prints, photos that I have taken, the liberty of having printed out. Notice Noelle Diamond, slay the hose. Slay the hose. Is that appropriate? No, it's not. Notice choking a man. Is that appropriate? No. How about dressed up as a devil worshiping? Not appropriate. This is just Facebook. You should really check out the Instagram account where it promotes witchcrafting and some disturbing photos and other posts. Now, I've heard the excuse regarding inclusiveness. How is it all inclusiveness to help children develop empathy and learn gender diversity and differences? Jeffrey Fitzpatrick, I believe that's you, yes. You stated in the Times Union that it's the library's job to provide an opportunity for programs to talk about existing gender diversity that already exists in the community. Those are wonderful contributions for all of us to have, but this is not the library's job. It's a parent's job. And I'm asking you, if you think it's necessary to have Drag Queen Story Hour for children, why? Why is it appropriate for an adult male to dress as a woman to be able to read to small children? I mean, seriously, what? What would you think? Would it be appropriate if we had strippers, male entertainers, or escorts to come to read to children? I mean, it's all about inclusiveness, isn't it? Accepting others for their beliefs. Oh, so it should include all adult sexual fantasies, don't you think? I think so. I don't think anyone would approve of that. It's so wrong to normalize adult sexual themes and fantasies in this very impressionable young children's minds. Can't we just let children be children? Thank you. not appropriate.
Good evening. My name is Lawrence Robb, and I'm a member of Bethlehem Township. I'm here tonight to address you regarding the drag story hour scheduled for July 13th. I believe we are all created in the image of God and therefore have intrinsic value. Thus, I have the utmost respect for John McDonald as a human being, as I do for every person in this room. That being said, I cannot at the same time support Mr. McDonald coming to the Bethlehem Library to speak to children, preschoolers even, dressed as a woman whose name is Noelle Diamond. Drag is inherently sexual, and to be promoting such event in a public forum paid for by the taxpayers is wrong. As adults created in God's image, we are morally culpable and have a responsibility to protect our children, not sow confusion by presenting men dressed as women as normal. Therefore, I very respectfully ask that you would reconsider and cancel the event. Thank you for the opportunity to speak and share my concerns.
Hi, my name is Jennifer. I am a resident of Bethlehem. I am a licensed clinical social worker and I'm a licensed clinical social worker and a therapist for the state of New York. As my colleague, the psychologist earlier pointed out about brain maturity, we also know that children who are denied freedom of expression and themselves, whether it be through clothing, sports, they do have a higher rate of suicide. I want to say thank you to our library for hosting this. As a gay woman who lives in this community, I moved here with my child because I thought it was a safe place to be. I did not realize that it was a sundown community. I did not realize that there was divisiveness and people wanted to bring church and state together through the library. Not once since I've moved here have I seen something for my family in this community. Drag queens are not about sexualizing children, and I would question what you are thinking in thinking that make-believe and fairy tales and fantasy and dress up is sexualization of children. So I would take a look into your own mind. Yes, it is the parent's job to decide what is best for their child. So if you want to come here for story hour, come here for story hour. If you do not want to come here for story hour, do not bring your children that day. As I said, since I've moved here, there has not been one thing for me or my child in this library. So I would like to say thank you to the board for having it here. My family will be represented as part of the gay community. I heard somebody saying something about normalizing sex and sexualizing our children. Well, I think that if you want to look at the school's dress code in the code of conduct, that a male child can wear shorter shorts than my female child can wear a skirt. So let's talk about sexualizing and normalizing our children to the world of sex. I did have, this big thing printed to share, but I'm simply responding to my other community members. It is easy in this community to be white. It is easy in this community to be a white male. It is easy in this community to be above the poverty level. Can I tell you that my child gets bullied relentlessly for having a gay mother, for having feet that look different than your child's? So when you want to talk about a drag queen, who is someone who is, thank you very much, who is someone who is glorious and wonderful and proud of who they are, think about teaching your children pride and think about the privilege that you have in this community as a white community member who is not different than anyone else. I truly regret my decision to move here.
Thank you.
Shut your mouth.
My name is Chris Cajano. I'm executive pastor at King's Chapel, Glenmont. I've been a resident of Bethlehem for 23 years, since 2000. My wife and I raised 3 children here, and so I speak with someone who's a love and investment in this community. Let me begin by saying that I love the library. It's a great place to be. I use your facility often. Spent many days here. Brought my children here for many programs and activities. See books. It's a great place for discovery and learning, for reading and writing, and for entertainment. What I love about it too is that it fosters great opportunity, appreciation for history and culture and the arts. And for those reasons, I support a lot of what the what this public library does, Bethlehem Public Library. But I'd say it's not a place for drag queen reading hour. As a Christian and a parent, I therefore derive my values from God's word, the Bible. And one of the principles that Jesus teaches is to care for, to provide, and protect those who've been trusted to us by him, especially the most vulnerable among us, which are our children. Children should be loved, cared for, nurtured, protected from harm. And I don't think you need to be a Christian to recognize that, or even be a part of a particular political persuasion to recognize that fact. The public library is not a place for drag queens to flaunt their sexualized alter egos, spread their gender bending ideology to children in our community. Just until recently, it was commonly understood that drag queens belong to the category of adult entertainment, but now someone to characterize it as family friendly, but nothing could be further from the truth. Drag queen story hour is not benign. It is an actual danger to our children. Drag queen story hour is engineered to confuse kids about biological gender, and it robs kids of their innocence by charming them with costumes and colors and propaganda storytelling, which are all the ingredients that are needed to influence the most vulnerable and impressionable among us, all under the guise of quote unquote inclusivity. But I hope that the Board of Trustees will see through this masquerade, hope that you will listen and take seriously the concerns and the calls of those taxpayers that are parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles, educators, and even pastors, everyone who has a vested interest in the children and in the community that their children live in, and that you would do the right and responsible thing to protect the children of Bethlehem from sexual exploitation by canceling the drag queen story hour. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Good evening. My name is Paul Heiser. I've been a resident of Bethlehem since about 1968. And in all that time, I've been coming to this library. It's a great resource. I love it very much. And that's why this drag queen story hour is a head scratcher for me. I don't see any pedagogical or social redeeming values for having this. And you don't need a long-winded explanation from me. It should be self-evident why this is not appropriate for kids. And for all those who are saying that if you don't like it, if you don't agree with it, just don't come. It's not that simple, because it's things like this that give towns a reputation. Okay. And if Bethlehem gets the reputation of being anti-child, then that's something that sticks. Thank you.
My name is Rebecca Ross. My husband and I raised both of our children here in the town of Bethlehem. We currently have, my husband and I raised our kids in Bethlehem here in the town. We currently have several vested interests in the form of family, including young children here in the community whom I am speaking for. The big question for me is, why do drag queens want to do story hours for young children? If you do a search on the internet, you'll find things like, it is an expression of LGBTQ pride. It's a way to normalize gender fluidity. They do it to help children who feel they are different. But my question for you would be, what do any of these things have to do with the public library? Another thing you might hear when you do a search on drag queen story hours would be drag story hours are not sexual. Well, we need to ask ourselves, what is the intention behind and or the attraction to reading to children by someone whose life is otherwise all encompassed by the lifestyle and entertaining of others by means of a sexual nature, like striptease. Noelle Diamond is a striptease performer. YouTube video, striptease at Bard and Baker in Troy about 5 months ago can be found with an easy search. Would you invite a traditional nightclub stripper into Bethlehem Public Library to read to the children? If not, why not? Do you view this as any different? Part of your own Bethlehem Public Library mission statement. In the first part, it's basically broken up into 2 parts. The first part says, quote, Bethlehem Public Library values its responsibility to enhance the general welfare and quality of life in the community and region it serves. I have a couple of questions that pertain to the first part. So the first one would be, how does Drag Queen Story Hour enhance the general welfare or the common good quality of life of the Bethlehem community as a whole? My second question, which is 2 parts, have you had many preschoolers seeking information, books, etc., regarding sexual gender and the artistic expression thereof? If not, a majority of preschoolers in the community are in need of artistic cross-dressing expression, then why, for the benefit of the community, would you be bringing this to the community service table to begin with? My third question to the first part of your mission statement is a set of questions. Did you seek out the drag queen or did he come to you to solicit your promotional support? Another part of that question would be, how was the event decided on? And which somebody else had insinuated to. Did the town get a heads up or an opportunity before now to have a say in the scheduling of this event? I don't know if you want to address those questions after. The second part of your Bethlehem Public Library mission statement states, quote, the library pursues excellence in its mission to provide equal and uncensored access to resources and services that encourage lifelong learning, cultural enrichment, and professional growth. According to the statistics I could find, about half of the population of the town of Bethlehem identifies Christian. My husband's going to give me his 3 minutes. I believe it would be the I believe it would be the opinion of many that if you had considered this data, then you would have rationalized that the public library was a breach to the equality that you attest to, pursue excellence in because of discrimination against half the population here in the town of Bethlehem who identify as Christian, and would have to compromise their convictions in order to participate in this type of activity. In addition to discrimination against Christians, be considered viewpoint censorship. The Christian worldview is very clear because it's very cross-dressing. A woman shall not wear a man's garment, nor shall a man put on a woman's coat. For whoever does these things is an abomination to the Lord your God. In this passage, God commands that a woman is not to wear that, and a man is not to wear that which pertains to a woman. For the purpose of deception. In other words, it's not addressing the fact that a woman might. Vice versa. It's not a command that a woman should not wear pants or slacks, etc., as some might attempt to interpret. The meaning here is that cross-dressing and traditionalism is done in order to deceive or to present oneself as something that he or she is not. Most drag queens are gay cisgender men. It is also clear that homosexuality is this in detail, God's natural men and women is created in many other scriptures. In summary, the bottom line is you are discriminating against half the population of Bethlehem because the Bible is cross-dressing and transvestitism ain't choice. It is a demonstration of unbelief and rebellion against God. In terms of your own missions, it would not only be hypocritical for you to sponsor such an event, but it is keeping drag queen story hour on your calendar events, then you should be prepared to offer that story
Next person, please go ahead.
Thank you.
Everyone, a moment, please. On behalf of the board, we want to hear what all of you have to say. Please be respectful to each other. That means not speaking over each other, and that means keeping to your time. There is a long line, and I know that all of you do not want to be here all night. Please, we want to hear what all of you have to say. The only way for us to do that is for you to work with each other. Thank you.
30 minutes. Thank you. We want to hear from people.
This is John Canning. I promise I won't go over the 3 minutes and I won't speak loudly.
Can you tell me where you're from, John?
Yes, I am. I've lived in the town of Bethlehem for 20 years. I live on North Helderberg Parkway, and I've been a taxpayer also for 20 years. I was interested in knowing if the board was aware of the selection of books that it would be read to the children on Thursday, but you don't have to answer that. I understand that this isn't the forum for that. So there is a possibility that some of the content may be inappropriate for children. Therefore, I'd like to cite a few studies how these affect children. In an article from Psychology Today, think about that for a moment. Constant exposure to sexualized messages day in and day out at lightning speed from nearly every direction for their entire childhood. We are creating a generation of super sexualized children. A significant number of children are actually demonstrating sexual interest and or sexual behavior at earlier ages than ever before in our society. Kids are being exposed to sexual matters that were previously only in the purview of adults, and the greater the exposure, the greater the consequences can be. In another article from the Washington Examiner, saying no to children for their own physical, mental, and emotional growth and safety may not be easy, but it must be done. No children should not be exposed to drag shows, even ones labeled family friendly. Minors aren't allowed at strip clubs, as it was said earlier, for a good reason.
20 seconds.
Oh, wow, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna, and I did promise I wouldn't go over, so I'm in trouble now. According to the American Psychological Association, the sexualization of girls is linked to low self-esteem, eating disorders, and depression. All right, I appreciate at least having the opportunity here. Thank you.
Good evening. Can you guys hear me?
Not really loud.
Closer. This is kind of way down. It's not, the price should have turned up. Anyways, my name is Dr. James McGann. I live in Slingerlands. I'm a lifelong user and supporter of the Bethlehem Public Library. I started coming here in 1985 when our first grade class would march down here from St. Thomas to the library on a midweek. What's that?
Amen.
On a midweek field trip. I study here all throughout high school. My undergraduate degree, 2 master's degrees, and a PhD in information and behavioral science. I have also tutored dozens of high school and college kids right here in this building. And today I hold meetings here with one of my organizations. The library is supposed to be a neutral, nonpartisan place where all are welcome. Of course, the literary and academic worlds have always had a left-leaning bend to them, but nothing strong enough to alienate library users or make the library a de facto monopoly of a fringe political faction. Until now, it seems. The outrageous scheduling of a drag queen story hour for little kids, to me, is shocking, predatory, insane, and abuse of public trust, public monies, and public institutions. I'm embarrassed to live in Bethlehem when this kind of fringe nonsense is going on. I'm paying for this, as are all taxpayers. It makes people want to move because it makes our town unrecognizable and living here untenable to many. Would we have a prostitute, gigolo, stripper, porn centerfold, or ex-con story hour for little kids? I would hope not. I can't tell you how many people have said to me, you have to stop this. How can you allow this? What are you going to do? Republicans, independents, and Democrats. This is not split along some party lines. My answer is always the same. I don't have the authority to stop anything. Elections have consequences, and when you keep electing the same people, you'll get events like this and eventually worse. But I'm here tonight to express my dismay and disappointment and to appeal to your good senses. Please cancel Drag Queen Story Hour for little kids on July 13th. It's wrong. It always will be. A child's environment does have an impact on their development, and to say it doesn't is a demonstrable lie. Protecting them is everyone's responsibility. If this goes forward, you will always be associated with it, even as times and culture change. Thanks for your time tonight.
So my name is Gretchen Lena. I don't have a prepared statement, but I know I can let my feelings be known here tonight, and I am adamantly opposed to the Drag Queen Story Hour. I'm a 20-year tax-paying resident of Bethlehem. I brought up 2 daughters here. We use the library oftentimes for story times. And I'm sorry that this one woman didn't find anything appropriate for she and her daughter until this came along, because you had many wonderful story hours. So yeah, I think it's predatory. I think it's confusing to children. I think it's taking away their innocence and totally inappropriate for our town. Thank you.
My name is Jennifer Stoyer and I'm from Albany. I have 3 children. They have been encouraged to dress up as children into fancy clothes, dresses, hats, purses, whatever, my son included. Okay. So my son can dress up like a girl in preschool, kindergarten, daycare, whatever. Nobody says a word. But because somebody comes to a building that is supposed to be open for everyone, now it's not okay. And that's not okay. I have 3 children who are embarrassed right now that this is even an issue. We teach our children how to behave. If you don't like the story hour, don't come to the story hour. I would take my kids if they were young enough. I would bring them right here. I am proud that this is happening. This is reality. Children need to see other people in this community that they may want to be when they get older, that's in their hearts. This is not gay bashing. I am not. I believe everyone has a right to live. And if you don't want to be around someone who dresses like a drag queen, don't. It's that easy. It is that easy. You read the piece of paper, you don't come. How many times do we take our children to see Santa Claus and we put our children on the lap of some guy wearing red pants and a white beard and don't think anything of it? Think about that for a minute. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board and the community. I do a decent amount of public speaking, but this is one that I'm not increasing, but this is one that I'm very happy to be at, and I'm even a little bit nervous, which I don't normally get at public speaking, because this matter is extremely important to me, as I have 2 younger sisters who do live in the town of Bethlehem.
If you can say your name and where you're from.
Sure. My name is Sean Garrity, and I'm a resident in the town of Bethlehem. I am going on sophomore year. I did go to Bethlehem for middle school, but recently transferred to Christian Brothers Academy in Albany. So I'm here tonight because I would like to speak out against not like to speak out against drag shows, but rather exposing our young and vulnerable youth to these ideas. There's a reason why elementary school, middle school, and high school teachers, or even college professors, are drilled into the idea of not endorsing any political ideas whatsoever. This is since children are very easily shaped by ideas, and as stated by another individual, not knowing what he wanted to do when he grew up just proves this point of how indecisive children are. I think by allowing this at our local public library is irresponsible and manipulative to my youth. And to have people who are supporting this on the other side laughing and interrupting me as I speak, I take it as very disrespectful, as I've listened to everybody's opinions here. Respectful, and I've been silent. I haven't said a word. And I've heard lots of giggling and yelling and shouting from over here, and I haven't done a single bit of that, and I'm proud of it. Very good. Children should be able to grow up and do things that children are supposed to do at a library, like go for a scavenger hunt, hide and seek, read a picture book about baby animals, not a drag queen story hour. I have seen numerous people roll their eyes when they hear the word God in here, which is disrespectful. And I've listened to every single opinion said here tonight and not just brushed it off, but rather took the other side into account and understood what they have to say and even agree with some things said. But apparently by the man here shaking his head doesn't believe what I say.
You pointed at me and took me out of context, sir.
Sorry? Okay, so again, let our children be children and not be poised to what others in our society want them to be. I truly hope that the board listens to me and takes my opinion into consideration because I am the youth. I live in it and I see it every single day.
Hi, my name is Heather Clark. I'm a resident of Delmar. I've been a resident of Bethlehem for 30 years. I graduated middle school here. I went to high school here. I raised my son here. I have been a taxpayer here for over 20 years. I know several members of our community are here to protest Drag Story Hour mainly because they don't agree with the lifestyle that a drag queen represents. However, these same members must also acknowledge that our community is diverse, and that includes members of the LGBTQ community. Again, they are part of our community and should be represented in community activities such as those organized by the public library, whose taxes they also pay. If you don't, I am not a part of the LGBTQ community. I am, however, an ally and a member of the Bethlehem community that strongly feels we should all be represented. I am not a Christian. However, if the library chose to have a Bible study hour, I would respect that, but not attend, as I do not feel my personal beliefs or religion should dictate what is offered to the community to represent the community. That we should all have the opportunity to be represented and entertained by. If you don't feel the same way, my advice is to just not attend. Just as I don't attend things I have no interest in. It is truly that simple. Also, this activity has been advertised as for all ages, and I plan to attend. Thank you.
My name is Ellen Roberts, and I want to thank the board for putting up with all of us. And I have a couple things I'd like to say. Move on the right page. My name is Ellen Roberts. I'm a retired elementary school teacher and a mother. I enjoy our library here, and I pay taxes to help support this library. We got to keep the lights on. We got to keep the toilets flushing. I object to my tax dollars paying for Drag Story Hour. People are different. Each individual is unique and unrepeatable, made in the image and likeness of God. We are called to love one another. But if I love someone, I do not have to agree with everything that they do. Just because I disagree with someone's lifestyle does not mean that I fear or hate them. That is a lie. If a man wants to dress up as a woman, as an adult, and go downtown to Lark Street, he has free will to do so. However, when it comes to the children, I draw the line. It is unacceptable. As a parent and as an educator of young people, I am firm on that point. Normalizing abnormal behavior like Drag Story Hour is basically grooming kids and making them prey to predators. Have you done a complete background check on this individual? I looked at his Instagram page and I cannot unsee some of the things that I saw. It is disturbing. As a woman, I call the behavior of that the objectification of women, making a mockery of the true feminine genius. What if I were to dress up and make my face up like a black man? And I know that was brought up earlier, but that is unacceptable. But as a woman, I'm offended. I'm shocked and offended as a woman, as a mother, as a teacher, and as a taxpayer. I absolutely insist that you stop this foolishness. I would be happy to get a background check if that's a requirement. and to volunteer to read stories to the children. I thank you for your time and I appreciate the patience of the board.
Good evening. My name is Matt Loricella, and I'm here to express my support for the Drag Story Hour. I know that there has been a lot of people who have been loud in their opposition to this event, but the more nonsense I see and hear, it's clear that they have no interest in learning the content of the story hour or even the long and storied history of drag and how it has been a part of and influenced culture for decades. It's clear they're only interested in one thing, and that's promoting hatred and fear of people who are different. Those opposed pretend as if drag hasn't been a part of films and musicals such as Some Like It Hot, Victor Victoria, The Birdcage, Hairspray, Kinky Boots, A Chorus Line, Chicago, The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, Rent, Hedwig and the Angry Inch, and even children's films like The Little Mermaid, where Ursula's character design was inspired by legendary drag queen Divine. And they will pretend as if the first performances of Shakespeare's timeless plays did not include drag, where males performed every part in the play, both male and female parts, and sometimes animals. Drag is not an inherently sexual or adult-oriented art form, yet those opposed have desperately tried to label the performer as unsuitable for children by cherry-picking posts related to adults-only events from the performer's social media. And if saying or doing something that may be considered inappropriate for children while in the presence of only adults is a disqualifying factor for reading books to children, then I don't think any adult in this room would be allowed to read books for children. Drag story hours are nothing more than someone in drag reading stories to children and teaching them about diversity, kindness, acceptance, and that it's okay to live authentically. That's all, but those opposed will call it indoctrination, and it's not. What's indoctrination is attempting to erase the true history and other cultures so that you can teach your own false version of events and that your culture is the only one that matters. Indoctrination is telling children it's okay to try and silence others just because they say things you don't like. Indoctrination is teaching children it's okay to take away the freedoms and rights of certain people. Indoctrination is teaching your children to hate others or that others are wrong simply because they look, dress, speak, love, or think differently than you do. Indoctrination is making your children believe they should be ashamed of who they are if they aren't exactly who you want them to be or don't think and believe what you want them to think or believe. The Drag Story Hour is an optional event. You don't have to go. I'll end here. I just think it's ironic that we have a lot of people bringing up God and religion in when talking about sexualizing children, because how many men of the cloth have molested children over there? There are drag kings as well. Okay, it's not just men dressing blue. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Olivia Sawyer and I live in Albany. Sorry. So I grew up like dressing up as a boy, girl. I like dressed up like basically anything I wanted to wear, and sorry. So I go by they, she, they pronouns, and I've been to drag shows. I've been to I went to the Pride Festival in Albany, and the more times I've been sexualized is going to school. I've been looked at, I've been just generally looked at very just looked at, and I have never been looked at like that at a drag show or anything. It's just people should be treated and you're doing great.
My name is Texan Corrigan. I am a resident of the town of Bethlehem. Can you hear?
Yeah.
I am a resident of Bethlehem. When I first learned of the library's plan to host a drag story hour, I thought that maybe the board and staff could simply be naive, thinking it would be like a clown birthday party. that they were unaware of the controversy and clashes over these events going on all around the country. Then I thought they were surely aware of the divisiveness and uproar and decided a little excitement in this fun-loving town would be a positive thing, and thus determined to stage a spectacle that might likely polarize the community under the theme of all together now, no less. I have since learned that the justification that the library is using is strategic direction 1 of the long-range services plan, inclusion and equity, apparently assuming that this program fits the criteria. However, if they would take care to look into Drag Queen Story Hour, which is a national 501c3 organization, they could learn from the professionals themselves that this is not the family fun time that it presents as. The drag pedagogy is a fundamentally different orientation than movements toward inclusion and assimilation. I urge you to read their manifesto. You might better understand the opposition to this program in our library. Unfortunately, we are not all together now. Thank you.
My name is Bob Giannotti. I'm a resident of Glenmont. I'm here with my wife. My son lives here. My grandchildren live here. And at first I was just going to come and say, I object to this, you using my tax dollars, and I pay a lot of taxes in this town like everybody else does. Why wasn't I even asked, do you want your tax dollar? Why wasn't it brought to a vote or something? You know what I mean? Like, ask people, do you want your tax dollars used for this? And I'll give you a little sideshow right now. I was born and raised in New York City and born in the Bronx, Great Bronx. But one thing I want to get to is I was exposed to everything in New York City you could possibly be exposed to. I lived there my whole life. Also, I was a truck officer on Ladder 74 for 26 years in Yonkers, New York. And let me tell you something. When I got up to a smoky building or crawled down a smoky hall, I did not ask, is there a transgender in there? Is there a black person in there? Is there a Puerto Rican person in there that I got to risk my life to save their life? Never. I was always live and let live. Do as you should do for your own. I don't want to be involved. But once you involve the children, it's game on. Let me tell you, I am fed up with these people trying to indoctrinate our children into sexual fantasies. The other thing, as an officer on Ladder 74 in Yonkers, New York, I don't know if any of you ever heard of Yonkers Professional Hospital that is now closed. It is the original sex change hospital in the United States. And I saw the devastation in a building on Harriet Avenue where they all stayed for their operations and many transsexual people lived in afterwards. Their lives were devastated and I helped them many times. It's a devastation, it's sexual, and our children should not be subjected to sexuality at a young age. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you all so much for your patience tonight. My name is Laura DeBetta. I am a resident of Delmar with a rising fourth grader in the district. I want to say thank you so much. When I read the program, the Drag Story Hour was coming, I yelped in excitement. I'm just so thrilled that we're finally bringing this wonderful, rich, and rewarding program to our community. Drag Story Hours include storytellers using the art of drag to read books to kids. The programs promote inclusivity and allow all kids, especially kids who are LGBTQ, to see that they can be their authentic selves. It's also just a lot of fun. I wish I was so fabulous, and the demand for these programs is huge. I believe Albany had more than 200 people show up for their recent Drag Story Hour. Library programs are an extension of the books here on the shelves. Books are mirrors and windows. Everyone should be able to see themselves reflected in stories, and diverse stories provide a window into experiences that are different from our own, allowing for greater understanding and empathy. The same is true of programs. The diversity in books and programs makes our community richer, more welcoming. And last, like all library programs, and like every book, every movie, every game on the shelves, it's all optional. No one has to go. But those of us who think this is a great way to expose our kids to positive queer role models, for those who are queer themselves or have children who may be queer, we appreciate this program and those like it and are looking forward to it. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Erin Mueller. I am there's two things. I'm a resident of Del Mar, and there's two things that I'm super proud of. One of them is being a mother, and the other is the fact that we live in a country where we can speak our minds and talk about our opinions. And I've been really happy to hear that you discussed and pledged your support for the Constitution, because for me, that is such an amazing document. I'm an educator of history and I'm a student of history. And so as I'm listening to people speaking tonight, one of the things that keeps coming up is the Constitution and how people have the right to free speech. So I've been disappointed to hear people misquoting the Constitution tonight, because the First Amendment says, and I'm reading it right here, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, of the press, of the right of people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for the redress of grievances. That's the Bill of Rights. And so for me, I applaud the library for giving the opportunity to have a drag story hour. I think it is a wonderful opportunity for students and children to have different views on the world around them. I think it is a really great opportunity. And just like it says in the Bill of Rights, everyone has the freedom of speech, and the separation of church and state is incredibly important. So I applaud you guys for this. I was really excited to read that you'd be having a drag story hour, and I encourage it to follow through. And as a parent, I hope to be able to come attend with my daughter. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Donna McMullen. I'm from the town of Bethlehem. I've lived here about 33 years. I'm a married woman with 7 children, and we've used the library quite often in all the years. And I think this is one of those things of logic, that this is just an illogical program for a child. Would you hire a naked clown for your child's birthday party? Probably not, right? Who's going to come? You're going to send out a list to your friends. Hey, I'm having a naked birthday party. Bring your kids. They're not going to come. And would any little child want to have this happening? It's not children saying, oh, please, I want a drag queen story hour. It's parents saying they want the drag queen story hour. And that is really telling. So interesting, like others have always said, it's just gay. It's all about gay and lesbian. I mean, is that really all drag queen story hour is? It's for gay and lesbian? Like, that's what I'm hearing. Every single person who's like testified, that's what they're supporting, basically. Providencetown has drag queen shows all the time in a bar, right? They have them out for adult entertainment, not children. They don't go into little schools. And why don't they want to ever do these for senior citizens? Why don't they go to the nursing home? You know, they might get a kick out of this kind of show. They might. I don't know. Give them a thrill. Little kids don't need a thrill, right? And can you bring children to casinos? No. Why? They're underage. There's a rule. Can you bring them drinking in a bar? No. Why? There's a rule. You don't do that. If you even have children? I don't even know if you do. But sexualizing children is not entertainment. And why can't he just dress in normal clothes if he wants to come read to the kids? Why put on a mask and a costume? Because they're hiding behind that, right? But what's hiding behind the costume? We don't know. Other people have shown things from their pages or whatever, but that's what you're actually showing, is bringing in. Children should be kept innocent, and God's children are not to be exploited, and movies are rated. Like one of the persons was talking about different movies, and like they had drag and things like, they were rated R. A lot of the movies he was talking about, they weren't children's programming, right? They were rated PG-13. Some of these shows are not rated for children, and kids don't drive themselves here for drag and story hour. Parents would be bringing them. And so I just think the library really needs to be aware of the tax dollars and the tax base of the people who live in the town and what they want their money to go to. This was never put out as like, hey, here's some options, what would you think? And you really should learn from Budweiser and Target, because that's a very telling thing on what happens when people decide to use or not use products. And thank you.
Yeah.
My name is Isha Santiago. I am a Delmar and Ellesmere homeowner and a mother of 2 young boys. I'm a career woman. The ages of my kids are 7 and 2. And yes, I want my tax dollars to be used for this. There's plenty of programming. My kids are not interested and I'm not interested, but I'd like that it's available for people who are interested. That's the point of this. I'd also like to thank you for continuing to create amazing opportunities and a welcoming environment at the library. Maybe not so much this meeting, but still. While we are unfortunately unable to attend Drag Story Hour this Thursday, although I might pull my kids from camp, we have attended other public library drag story times in the past. They are so much fun and create a rich experience befitting a library, where minds can grow, see things in a new light, and unleash their creativity. Knowing you're in a space with resources and people to help you learn things, when you don't have the words, or are uncomfortable asking anyone but a knowledgeable librarian, is such an important thing for people of all ages. And that's what the library does. I've heard a lot about sexualization. I'm a woman on a good day, a very attractive woman. So please don't talk to me about sexualization of women. It is not happening at the library. It is not happening during story time. That is not what Drag Story Hour is about for the children. Ultimately, what we're talking about is someone reading a story, a children's story that you can choose to bring your child to or not, that is living up a fantastical experience like any of the shows that were represented, like Disney movies, like anything else. They are women in Disney movies wearing wigs, wearing all costumes. It's called fun. And I have actually been to these. So for those of you who are looking at people's accounts to see what happens, that is not what happens at Drag Story Hour. It is somebody dressed up fantastically, capturing the attention of children reading a story and having fun with them. I also wanted to say, I seek out these opportunities for them so that they can see people are people, stories are magical, and to know that I will love them and I will support them. And there is a community that will love and support them too, no matter what. Children should be loved, protected, and supported. And that is why we need these programs and the ability for parents who can choose to bring them. If Bethlehem maintains a reputation of being homophobic and transphobic, what does that mean for the children who are here? What does that mean for their mental health supports? And what does that mean for the infrastructure we're supposed to be providing for all community members? My kids are not interested in all of the programs, and so we just don't go. I spoke with my 7-year-old and reminded him about the time that we went there, and I asked him about his experiences. And his response was, yeah, that was a lot of fun. That is all he remembers from that experience. So for those of you who want to attend them, who do want to attend them, it's so important. The library is truly an asset and a marker of Bethlehem community pride. And I hope that you will continue to create options for families like mine and allow us the opportunity to meet other people who are interested in attending these so that we can actually feel the community here. Thank you.
Hey, good evening. Can you hear me? It's very low. My name is Amanda Lepton. I actually just moved to Delmar on Saturday, so really excited to be a part of the community. My first trustee meeting. It's a lively one. So first, I actually want to express appreciation for all of you. I know this is a lot of time and a big investment for you to stand here and listen to all of us. So just thank you so much for what you're doing and the opportunity to provide people comments. I also want to just appreciate the fact that you're holding this really important program. I've lived in a few different places, and I was really excited to learn that the community that I just chose to move to is holding a program that really seeks to represent or really seeks to ensure that there is representation of people from diverse backgrounds. Because inclusivity is really important. A lot of time people don't see themselves in a lot of things that are offered in movies or in books or in just mainstream culture or their schools or in other places. And that makes it really hard, and especially for our youth. So the fact that you guys are going out of your way to ensure that there are opportunities for people of all backgrounds to really see themselves in the programs that you're offering, I think is a really wonderful benefit for our community. And it makes me really excited to have just moved here. So that, and I just want to say thank you and to say thank you to everyone that's providing comments tonight. And I'm really excited to see this move forward and really appreciate that there is this focus on inclusivity in this town. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jessica Galgana. I live in the town of Bethlehem since 2018. I am a wife. I have 2 small children, which ages is what's recommended for this event. They're 4 and 7. This is not even a matter of being against drag queens. It's whether this is appropriate for their age group. So as soon as I saw the newsletter, I looked up this individual, Noelle Diamond, and when you go on to all their social media, everything is very hypersexualized. Now, I'm sure that this individual is going to probably tone down their attire and what they'd be wearing for this event and things they'd be talking about. But why is it targeted towards like 3 and 4-year-olds? Why not high schoolers? Like if I bring my children to this and say they get a real kick out of it and they're like, oh, this is awesome. It's no different than dressing up as a Disney princess or bringing in someone like as a fireman or a police officer. But it is different because if my child then now is like, oh, this is I like Noelle Diamond. Like, can I watch some Noelle Diamond when I go on YouTube? Or can you show me, like, what are they going to see? Is there why not have a separate alter ego that is completely child friendly? That you can't separate the two. I know a lot of people here would like to say that that's what's happening, is that we can separate this sexual side and make it kid friendly, but they just don't mix, especially in this case. Maybe it does in some cases, but with Noelle Diamond, it's all over the internet. Like it's not child friendly. And so I would just encourage you guys to just rethink the situation. It's not to be against anybody. Of course, we should have inclusivity, but certain things are just not appropriate for small children. And I just don't know what the benefit is for them, what the takeaway for them, why does Noelle Diamond want to read to small children when they're up until recently, drag performances were adult entertainment, and that's fine. Like, that's totally fine. But in a library to like 3 and 4-year-olds, do they even want to, they're into Disney princesses and dinosaurs and all this. Do they want to see men dressed in drag? Do they? Or is this just certain political ideologies that certain parents have? They want it. They want it to be they want their children to see this. And if that's the case, we want to really be super inclusive, then, maybe we should start opening a whole other topics. Maybe you already do when it comes to certain opposite beliefs. I would like to see if that is possible in some of the programs. I haven't yet seen anything about like Judeo-Christian values or maybe story time talking about the nuclear family. It doesn't seem as inclusive as it's led on. So I think that things tend to be a little biased. And that's all. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Courtney. I'm a homeowner in Delmar, and I have a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old. People have asked, why is it beneficial? During the pandemic, my son, who was 2 at the time, was home with me and my daughter. He got really into dress up, princess dresses, nail polish. We just kind of went with what he wanted to do. He gets back to school when he's 3, comes home and says, I can't wear that. I'm going to get made fun of. I was shocked, 3 years old, and it already starts. So we talk about the political messaging of drag queen story hours, but what about the messaging all around us? Boys can do this, girls can do that. Boys can wear this, girls can do this. He is 4, he has a purple leotard. He loves it. He always wants to wear it out of the house. But at the last second, he goes, what if I get made fun of? So where is he getting that from? That's what this is about. That's who this is beneficial for. Drag, I really resent drag being equated with smuttiness. It is about play, it is about joy. For those of you who didn't get to attend a drag queen story hour before, let me tell you, I went to the one at the State Museum. They wore frilly dresses, we sang Disney songs, we read a story. That's what it is. Drag queens are performers, they're artists. So what does that mean? They're going to think of the audience and the context in the same way that an actor in an R-rated movie is going to act differently from the way they would in a PG or G-rated movie. Think of Mulan, I'll make a man out of you. It's about playing. It's about telling kids that they can be whoever they want to be, that they can play, and that that's okay. So I urge you, please be strong, be brave, do the right thing. Please don't cancel this.
Hello, my name is Nicole. Hello, my name is Nicole. I live in Delmar. I have been a Bethlehem Library card holder ever since I could first write my name. I have 4 young children, 3 of whom also have their own card. The 4th is too young, but loves the programming here. I'm here in support of the Drag Story Hour. I have multiple degrees in child development. I'm an educational specialist. Because of that background, I appreciate the importance of offering kids exposure to mirrors and windows. That is literature and experiences that both reflect who they are and show new ideas that they haven't yet otherwise seen. I'm thrilled to see programming that offers opportunities for mirrors and windows here at Bethlehem. When I was a child, I was read to exclusively by straight presenting people. And yet I stand here as a queer adult. Being read to by straight people didn't make me straight. Having straight people being read to by drag queens is not going to make them into drag queens. Being exposed to happy adults living their truth helps kids see that being true to themselves and accepting of others benefits us all. Offering mirrors and windows to kids makes them stronger. Thank you very much to the library staff, board, and trustees for this expansive and inclusive programming, and we can't wait to attend. Thank you.
I know.
My name is Arnie, and I don't want it to be canceled because last time I went to a drag story hour, when the stories went on, I really like them, and it's always something new. And then I make like my own story in my head, and sometimes I write it down. And it's really, really important to me. And then so please don't cancel it.
Good evening. I am Reverend Molly Dalabon. I am an ordained minister in the Presbyterian Church USA. I currently work as the youth director at First Presbyterian Church in Albany. And I am a card holding member, as are my 2 children, of the Mohawk Hudson Library System. And we were super excited to go and visit all the different libraries in the Mohawk Hudson. We've been doing like the stamp program. I'm the parent of 2 children, a cisgender girl who's 8, Annalise, Ani, we just heard from, and a gender fluid child, 10-year-old, who's right here. Their name is Dee Dee. And actually Dee Dee sometimes goes by she, her, and sometimes goes by they, them, and is exploring gender. So I am also a trained sexuality educator. So in figuring out how to parent my unique child, I learned that it's by ages 3 to 5 that developmentally children start to understand their own gender identity. So it actually is very appropriate for this age group 0 to 6 to be exposed to a diversity of what that means. We live in a society that's so binary in gender and has so many expectations, then it's hard to fit oneself in the box when you're a concrete thinker in boxes. I get 3 minutes in the so one of the things that I sought out parenting my child was more boxes. So we read things like Morris and the orange dress and Jacob's new dress and lots of cool things that gave us more boxes for like what our gender would be. I want to make sure that everybody who wants to know knows the correct time. It does say it correctly on the website, but in the newsletter, it's misprinted. So it is the Kindness Matters Family Story Time. The correct time is not Tuesday the 18th, but Thursday, July 13th at 11 a.m. So for anybody who wants to come. And it's advertised as shares, stories, and sings songs that celebrate kindness. And I'm just speaking to one of the librarians to inquire what the books are. She didn't have time to find them all, but one she thought was narwhal. And so, thank you. I would encourage folks to look at where, like, what the advertising for this event will be, has been. There's no pictures of Mall Diamond. It indicates on the website it's gonna be age appropriate. So I think there's no harm in doing this. And I would say the God that I understand is the maker of gender and is transgender.
My name is Gigi and I am 10, and I'm gonna speak about what I think drag is important and what we should be doing. I think drag is important. It's because that we can express our feelings by drag in other people because they are singing and they're dancing and being themselves. And I think that it could be very inspiring to younger kids that, like, you can be yourself and you can do and be what you want to be. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Eric Weiss. I'm a resident of Delmar. I would just like to give my support to the Drag Queen Story Hour that we are doing. I think really what it comes down to is freedom. It's a freedom for parents to make their own choices about what they want to expose their children to. Certainly no one is making other people's children come in and see this, but it is also not people's right to say, no, you can't do this because I don't agree with it. You are taking away someone else's freedom to do that. That's what makes this country so great, is that we have the freedom to do that. Now, yes, there's dangerous things, like you can't say fire in a movie theater, but that's not what is happening here. No one is getting hurt by Drag Queen Story Hour. It is not a choice that children make to be transgender, to be gay, to be anything like that, to be straight. It is something that is inside of them already. So again, I would just like to give my support to the Drag Queen Story Hour, and I hope that you do more events like this and other events that all families can come to. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Ellen Kelly Lind. I live here in Delmar, have for many years raised my children here along with my husband, and have 2 grandchildren who live in the town and 1 who doesn't. I have been watching the board meeting since the beginning via YouTube. I don't live too far away, and I was so dismayed by many of the things that I heard that I decided to get in my car and come here so that I could speak. Not that it makes that much difference, but I am a church-going and gospel-loving Christian. Just want those of you to whom that makes a difference hear that. From my understanding, this type of program has actually been requested by people in the community, as probably other things have been requested. Maybe some of you saw the meme after this started to be publicized I saw it on Facebook, that a good public library has something that will offend everyone. And I think that applies in this case. There's just a couple things I want to say. I've never been to a drag show, and I've never been to a Drag Queen Story Hour. However, I do know that drag story hours are not drag shows. 2 totally separate things. I have a 3-year-old granddaughter who has attended drag story hours with her mother and father. Very joyful events, they told me. I also want to tell you, in case you don't know, that, I mean, this is just a matter of interest to me, that one of the most prominent national drag queens is a graduate of Bethlehem High School and has written 2 books, he's a leader in the Drag Queen Story Hour movement. I don't know, that's not the right word, but and they my daughter was speaking with him with them recently in my presence, and he's very touched that there's going to be a drag story hour here. And I said I was dismayed, and that's why I came here. The other side of that coin is that I realize that this is democracy in action. This is what we need to do. If we agree with something, we need to speak out. And if we don't, we need to speak out. However, we have to kind of get educated too. For example, it's obvious that some people here do not understand how the library is governed. It has nothing to do with the town government, has nothing to do with the school district. It's a totally, it does?
20 seconds.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Okay, well, I just want, as you can tell, I support this decision. I thank the library board and staff for their bravery and all their work, even when it's not brave. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mike Yovine. Lived in Delmar my entire life, live in Slingerlands now with my two daughters, 5 and 7-year-old daughters. And I don't have anything prepared, but I feel like I want to talk. Everybody has a good point of view. You have a good point of view. Everybody has a good point of view. There's no right or wrong. Maybe you feel differently than I do. You feel differently than I do. My concern is the background of the performer. I have nothing against anybody that has a different opinion than I do. You're allowed to have a different opinion. But when you can go to YouTube and you can see the background of this performer and not show your kids that you want to bring to that story hour, that performance, maybe we should get a different performer. I'm not saying don't have a performance, but what I'm saying is maybe vet the people out a little bit more. Again, I'm not against anybody in this room. I'm for this community working together and coming together. But I think that maybe more research can be put into this, more thought can be put into it. And I had one final question, because I know we've all been here a long time. When is Rabbi Story Hour? When is priest story hour? It's our tax dollars. We all want to see everybody benefit from the library. That, by the way, I've come to since I was 6. I'm 49. I love this library. My kids love this library. We will continue to support this library. But let's all make good decisions and let's think things through. That's all.
Hello, my name is Alex Stoyer. I am a resident of Albany. I use the library quite a bit. And I am a child, I'm a minor. And I believe that Drag Queen Story Hour is an incredibly beneficial program to have in the library, as it introduces small children who are to the wonderful diversity on our planet and stuff. And here, and it is a educational opportunity, is an opportunity to tell kids that, yeah, it's cool to be different. It doesn't matter. People can live their lives. That's fine. And people have brought up that it's sexualizing, but it's not. Because people who do Drag Queen Story Hour for small children or minors will tone it down or do it in a way so that it's not age inappropriate, and will make it so that it is not explicit in any way and appropriate for the children. People have also mentioned the Constitution. The Constitution, this is a paraphrase, mentions freedom of expression and freedom of speech and freedom of religion. All of that plays into Drag Queen Story Hour, because drag is protected by freedom of expression because it's expression, and it's freedom of speech because it's freedom of speech. It's not. It is protected by the Constitution, and it is not harmful to children. So thank you.
Hello,
My name is Seth Williams. I'm a Delmar resident. My wife and I are foster and adoptive parents, and we fostered kids from age ranges like 2 weeks to 11 years old, and we've seen innocence lost in kids. And my concern is the innocence lost for these kids with the drag queen story hour. No hatred towards anyone or anything. Just want to make that perfectly clear, but that's why I'm in opposition to that. Thank you very much.
Good evening. I'm a resident of Deerbush, but I pay taxes here to the library and quite a bit of taxes. So I remember this. My name's Tom Dukes. I remember this town when we had a little library over there, and I used to go there as a little kid. And I remember this library when it's being built, and it was great. I really look forward to it, and I've been here a lot. But I'd like, when people say it's not about sexualization of the kids, it's a slippery slope when you say that, because right now, the sexualization of children is at an all-time high. I don't think this nation's ever seen anything like this. Currently, there's a movie out right now. It's called The Sound of Freedom, and it's hitting a charge. It's blowing away so many movies right now. It's tremendous. I mean, it's objective. It is a fact of what's going on.
Louder, microphone up to your mouth. We need to hear you.
It's a fact of what's going on right now with sexualization of children. And when you have a man dressed as a woman, it's kind of a juxtaposition. I mean, it does say throw a little sexualization of some sort in there. But I see it as a bit of a Trojan horse, or in other words, the sexualization and the sale of children for sex is huge right now. And we need to wake up about that. And, this is a lot bigger than what this meeting is about right now. It's a big business, multi-billion dollar, it's surpassing the drug trades right now. And, this is one department, say the allowance of, I don't know, a drag queen to come in here, but it's also a bit of a salesperson. He's selling something. You got to ask, what is he selling? And, I'm a Christian, and I just want to make an emphasis of that. And Christianity it's a relationship. It's not a religion, but it is a relationship. And it teaches how people are to treat one another. It's not about gay bashing or anything like that, or, white supremacy or anything like that. It's about loving everybody. And, trying to work out a difference that works with everybody. This is very polarizing. It's very divisive. I question whether or not I would like to have my taxes used for this purpose, and I would say no. I question whether or not an individual could have it in a home, and if that's what the parents want to allow, let them have it in a home, their home, or let them rent something, a community center or something like that. But when you get involved with taxes being involved, and a lot, quite a bit, there's a stand that I think I need to take, and that's why I'm up here right now. So this is a lot bigger than right now. So thank you very much.
Hello, can you hear me? I think, my name is Rob Stubbs. I'm from Glenmont. I've lived in the community over 30 years. Just about everybody who spoke tonight covered most of what I wanted to say. But with regards to tax dollars, there are those who support tax dollars going for this and those who oppose it. Could there not be corporate sponsorship? Or, get some business in the community, and that way nobody's paying through their tax dollars for this. Many people said if a library is for all people, all interests. I don't ever recall seeing maybe a speaker, a controversial conservative speaker, you know, one of them mega people. I'm sure the community would have an uproar over that. Maybe somebody talk about the dangers of COVID vaccines, especially with regards to children. I don't see any discussions on that. Maybe somebody who opposes the sexually grooming of young children, maybe they should come speak here as well. Along with, not with the drag queen, but as a counter balance. Thank you, counterbalance. I'm opposed to this. One question, and it's rhetorical. If a vulnerable child attends this event, questions their sexuality, makes significant changes in their life, realizing later that it was a mistake, will the library share in the cost of their counseling? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sarah. I grew up in Bethlehem. I currently live in Ravenna, so I'm not a resident, but I still consider this town my hometown and I value it dearly. A couple of thoughts that have come into my mind during tonight's meeting. If I were to dress up in like formal male clothes and come into the office, I don't think anybody would have a problem with me wanting to sit down and read a nice book, a children's book to children. And the fact that a lot of people are having an issue with a man coming in dressed up as a woman or in, you know, women's clothes, quote unquote. I think that is perhaps because being a woman is seen as inherently sexual. If this person is coming in dressed probably in the amount of clothes that I am, I don't see how that is sexual. So I just want to point that out. Also, I do understand that people are concerned about activities that are happening outside of drag story hour that might not be appropriate for children. And to that, I would like to point out, like, if you're letting your children listen to the radio, I would like you to also then explore all that artist's material on YouTube. And if you are letting your children listen to that artist, then maybe, you know, just find common ground there. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
I'm Addie. I'm a resident of Albany. And I just wanted to say that, like, if a child wants to like transition to male or female, no doctor is going to give them testosterone or estrogen unless they're intersex and they have chosen that they would like to be more feminine or be more masculine. At most, they will be put on puberty blockers, which are reversible if you stop taking them.
That's not true.
It's very true, actually.
There's a teenager who's speaking right now and stop laughing at her. Thank you.
That's all.
Right, we're gonna go, I'm gonna take minutes, we're way over our 30 minutes, so if people, we're gonna have about 10 minutes more, we're gonna cut this off at 8, but so please go ahead.
Hi, I'm Meredith and I am a resident of Albany. And so I am a member of the library system that this library is a part of. What I wanted to say is, first of all, I'm proud of my daughter for coming up and speaking, because someone has been motioning at her throughout the entire meeting, making faces at her and staring her down. And excuse me, I'm speaking. This is my 3 minutes. And holding up signs, holding up a sign to show what she believes represents the drag queen that will be performing here. Will be, because I believe you guys will make the right decision. I wanted to just give you guys a look. This is the first picture that comes up on the Instagram feed of the drag queen that has been selected to perform here. Dressed as a princess. Princess. This is not sexual. This is not sexual. This is a person dressed as a princess. Little kids like to dress as princesses. I like to dress as a princess when I was a kid. My daughter did too when she was younger. Little kids like to dress up. They like the fantasy. They like fairy tales. That is what this is for. People who are trying to equate drag queens and other LGBTQ plus people to to someone who is trying to endanger children are disgusting and disrespectful to the people in your community who are part of that group. Disgusting and disrespectful. I would like to thank the board for putting up with all sorts of commentary, mine included, as well as, you know, some outbursts that have happened. Unfortunately, it has not been respectful in here at times. But again, thank you for your time, and I hope that you guys do make the right decision that will be inclusive to all children and that allows people who don't want their children to attend such an event to simply stay home. Thank you.
Any other public comments?
My name's Marjorie Manicha. I have lived in town here for going on 30 years now. I have two older children who are both in their 20s. When this first came about, I emailed the board and Jeff, I believe, directly to say thank you for doing this. I was very disheartened when it happened in Lake Luzerne and they had great intentions and then it was canceled because of public outcry. I think that the squeaky wheels get the grease, and in this case, it is the people who are small-minded and bigoted who are not willing to allow diversity and inclusion in our community. I don't think that is appropriate. I think nobody has mentioned the fact that children are not attending on their own. They are required to have a parent with them. That requires the parent to do the parenting and actually start a dialogue with their child about what's going on and what they're seeing. And that is the whole point of parenting. And if you don't want your children seeing what that person's background is, then parent them and don't allow them to go on YouTube when they're 6. So I appreciate you doing that. I hope it will continue. I plan to show up whether or not I'm allowed in the room or just to say thank you for doing this. I'll be taking time off from work to make sure that this goes off without a hitch and that there is no inappropriate behavior. Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Can I would,
No.
I can't address the crowd.
You can't have people go twice. So
Okay. Can I say something?
we'll be here all night.
Hi, everybody. My name is Holly Carl. I am not actually a resident.
Can you get close to the mic?
Sorry.
There you go.
I am not actually a resident of Bethlehem. I live right down here. It's like town New Scotland. We've been here for about 3.5 years. I started homeschooling my grandchildren a couple years ago. My youngest son, who's 24, felt very, very strongly about the kids going to the public library. And I completely agree. I loved the library when I was growing up. But the few times that we were here, they had a great time. My granddaughter, she's deaf in one ear. She has a hard time hearing. So we tried to make sure that, how do I want to say, we have to enunciate a lot of things because she reads lips in order to hear properly. A lot of the times she picks up on adult conversations. We don't realize that. A lot of people don't realize that she can do that because she does rely on lip reading. A couple times we were here, there was a few conversations that she picked up on. Of course, as her grandparent, I kind of moved her along when I realized what was happening. It was actually about this event, and that's what concerned me. So I did my own research, and to be honest with you, this right here is not, I'm sorry, but this is not who I want my grandchildren to be read by. This right here, it literally says, slay these hoes. I don't care what the first picture was on there. I don't care what the first picture was. I watched this man's videos where he's running back and forth. He's got this little dress on and he's flapping his back end up. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's disgusting. And that is not for children. And maybe that's not what he's here to do. But you cannot put family friendly and that in the same sentence. If other parents choose Keep it at home. It should not be out in the public sector. I don't care. If that's what you so choose, I don't care. Listen, I have lots of gay friends. I have all of that in my life. And to be honest with you, they agree with me. It's not something that should be around little children. They are very, very impersonable. And just to think that why I have to sit here and explain why this grown man wants to dress up as a woman. Why should I have to like keep explaining that over and over again? That's, you know, I don't know. I don't know what else to say, but this right here, this seriously is awful.
Okay, anyone else have time for one more person? Sure. Okay.
Dan Lena from Slingerlands. Just to expand on what the last lady said, any job you apply for in America today to do a background check on you, this should have been done. It should have been seen what kind of website this person runs, and they should not be allowed here. I don't approve of it.
Okay, quickly.
I'm Christian, and I am Mandy Zelo. I'm Christian, and whoever is a person in this room needs to hear this. Matthews 18. And if anyone hurts the conscience of one of these little ones that believe in me, he had better have been drowned in the depths of the sea with a millstone hung around his neck. Oh, woe to all those that are doing this to our children, our innocent children. And I say, woe to all those parents. And our Lord loves everyone. He even loves the drag queen. And he doesn't want anybody to go to hell. He loves everybody. And we all have to wake up because we're going to be in trouble. You all better wake up. You all better wake up.
Everyone, we already experienced a public comment period. Appreciate everyone's comments. We're going to move to the next part of the agenda. Actually, requested to take a 5-minute break. Actually, so we'll take a 5-minute break. Oh, I want to see that guy. It's on the. Yeah.
I knew exactly what you meant. I don't know, but I'm so sorry. We have 3 children who are around and kids. It's very true. Yes. There's a new version.
I don't know how to be like anything.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But Keisha's here, the kids are. And I think that. I think that the Jeff just said. That makes me feel come out like bond for it. Because I would figure. Because when they. The hard part is. Thank you. Well, it was in my desk. I actually saw that. I actually saw that. I'm like. I can make their big one. I was covered in it. Here's another aspect. I got some of the kids know, like, I think you have institutions. Could be like. You can sit whatever. Yeah, I don't. I don't think it's like thank you. They filled it out there. Right. Yes. And I just think for me in technology, I wasn't hard, but then I'll leave it up there. I was looking at that roll the entire. Chocolate. My roll. I roll. It is. So there's a white. My mother was president. No, exactly. Nice to my household, but you know, it wasn't very hard for my office. They were not. They were not pretending to be like my mom. Like, yeah. My mom. Like actually for her presentation, like me, not actually for the art. And I was like, change. Oh, thank you.
They don't care about it, but my ears.
Seriously.
Yeah, the treated.
I almost lunched it. It was fun. It's just easier.
If you're putting in meeting the first time to yourself, you know what. All over the place.
Oh, I was taking notes.
Yeah, that's gallery. Yeah, he was good.
I don't know. Jen went to lunch. Yeah, well. I know, it's definitely possible. No, it's best. I'm sorry, I'm scared.
We're gonna reconvene in a couple of minutes. Please, people take their seats.
Didn't see it.
I'm just gonna go through. Oh, it's gonna rip through.
Yeah.
These are clearly success. About tabling this. There's nothing there.
Unless Jeff needs to give the phone.
He just said I need to pay the.
Also, do you have children's program? I was Thank you. Can I take that home with me?
Thanks, everyone. We're gonna reconvene the meeting, the Monday, July 10th, 2023 meeting of the Board of Trustees. I'm gonna whip through the agenda. The next item on the agenda is committee appointments. We're gonna roll them over as they are currently. If people want to join other committees, or please contact me or Charmaine or Michelle.
Wait, so are you saying when you roll it over, you mean, are we supposed to just
trustee supposed to express interest, or you're carrying us over from last
I'm
week's?
carrying us over from last meeting, from the current committees that you're on. For the purposes of this meeting, you can talk about changing at the next meeting, and if people want changes or additions, please contact.
Got it.
Any.
Thank you.
I know that we're moving fast, but Charmaine, I'll throw my hat in the ring with you on the policy committee.
Okay.
Because I know that's a lot.
Thank
And if anyone wants to join the finance
You know,
It's not.
And since we're talking about it, I will stay on everything, but I'm looking to get off the building committee because the policy committee and the personnel committee is getting to be a lot of work. Sorry.
Okay, no, that's fine. The annual board authorizations on page 4. These are
Give me a second, I got it. All discombobulated.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Hey, why would you be this?
I don't know why I'm discombobulated. Okay, here we go. Can you make this bigger? All right, there you go.
Okay, I'll take a motion for these authorizations.
Can I just, just for the public record, could you just explain, generally speaking, like these are several services that we need authorization every year? Is that
Correct. Every year you need to authorize the attorneys, the broker, our official newspaper, which is the Spotlight, auditors, and then the banks that we're allowed to work with, as well as just a few money related things that are allowable under law, but you have to reauthorize them every year. And that's these that we can use wire transfers. You won't read them all, but there they are. And then that the 3 folks who handle most of the money are bonded, and as are the maintenance guys who take the deposits, and the staff assistant prepares the deposits.
Okay, I heard the president call for a motion, and so moved.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor, signify by raising your hand. In opposition, that motion carries. I'll note on the next page, the Bethlehem Public Library Board Meeting for 2024. Please take a look at that. And then the holiday evening closings on page 5 and 6. Nothing really controversial there, so I'll take a motion on
I
those.
just wanted to ask about July.
Yes, so it turns out it's very difficult for us to do the fiscal year rollover. And when that meeting, that's the 3rd Monday, so 7 days before that is the 8th. It's very difficult for us to get everything, as we're finding out this year, even at the 10th, it was hard for us to get the fiscal year rollover. So we're asking that it be on the 3rd Monday. And then the only other thing is that we want to be, that the meeting is scheduled for Veterans Day. If we want to kick that to the next day for the 12th, we can do that.
That was gonna be my question, was Veterans Day, and
Yes.
could we move it to the 12th?
We can be on any night at all. So if you'd like to kick it to the next night, that would be my recommendation. It's what we would typically do.
Okay, I'll take a motion on the 4 meetings with noting the change from November 11th to November 12th.
So moved.
Second. All in favor, signify by raising your hand. Okay, no opposition. Going to holiday and other closing. This is the draft schedule for 2024.
Yeah. This one, luckily, all the holidays are falling in kind of in the middle of the week, so nothing weird about the New Year's holiday or the Christmas holiday. Just need to authorize those. For me, the ones in red are contractual.
I move to approve the holidays.
I have one question though. Oh, there it is. Okay, I see it. Juneteenth. Got it. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay, Caroline, motion.
Move to 2023-24 holidays. Second.
Okay, second, Michelle, all those in favor, signify by saying yes. Okay, raise your hand. That motion is carried as well. So those are our holidays closings. There's an annual ethics conflict of interest statement on page 7.
You all should have a physical copy of that. Please
Sign.
Hand them in.
I had a question on this.
Sure.
And so I'm gonna recommend that all the trustees sign because we're obligated to. Can I propose an amendment to it for next meeting? And then if it gets approved by discussion of the trustees, then we can re-sign it, edit and re-sign. Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. You can do that. Now we're at the previous meeting minutes, pages 8 through 13. We'll take a quick look at those. See anything.
The only thing I would say is there's a typo in one point of Sarah's last name. I'm not gonna.
Sarah, it's okay.
I think it's just O-N, honestly.
And I'm just saying, thank you for taking all these notes tonight. That
Yes.
would not have been easy.
Appreciate it.
So I'll make a motion to accept the previous meeting's minutes. I'll second it.
All those in favor, signify by raising your hand. Seeing no opposition, that motion carries. Treasurer's report.
So we, looks like we're ending the year. Why is it doing this?
That's off.
Sure.
These will turn this off.
It's orange. Now it's orange.
Yeah,
I'll
don't
talk,
be orange, it should be green.
I know, it was green.
I know, but try again.
No, it's okay. Is that better?
Yeah.
Sure, okay. Looks like we're going to end the year with around a profit of about 495,000. That's going to change a little bit. There's going to be a few audit adjustments. Don't know yet exactly how much, but it won't be significant. Included in that surplus is about $108,000 of interest earned in excess of what we budgeted because we were able to take advantage of the amazing interest rates that have happened throughout the year. Just something to note, salaries and benefits are 5% under budget and total expenses are about 8% under budget for the year. At the next meeting, I hope to have a more detailed analysis of the variances, budget to actual, just to give you a little bit more of a background, but I just didn't have enough time to get ready for this meeting.
I just wanted to appreciate the finance committee and the work of Sherry for the investments that gave us. If you notice, their revenue is 103%, and I asked them privately what the 3% was, where that came from. It's from the investment. So very well done.
And also it is good that we have a surplus somewhat as we head into capital projects in the future.
Right. This surplus will be added to our fund balance, which will probably bring it up to somewhere around 4.5 million.
And then just that money's available then to draw from when we consider the capital project. So the total amount going out for a bond will be less because we're drawing from the monies that are already in place.
Okay, any question on the treasurer's report or the warrant? All right, I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, signify by raising your hand. Seeing no opposition, that motion is carried. Personnel report, page 24.
Okay. Through all of this to the end, I have only one action requested, and it is for a full-time librarian because Michael Farley is retiring from the library. So I'm seeking to backfill his position.
That makes me very sad.
You're not alone.
Great librarian.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I just have one question. I noticed that those pages are up there a lot and the clerks.
Yeah.
Do you have to have a library degree to be a clerk?
No.
Okay, so one thing I would suggest is, I'm not sure about partnering with the district or somehow getting the word out. I don't know if you have to be 18 or older, but I'm not sure if some of those positions, depending on scheduling, could be filled by either recent grads or current students.
So the two that are up at the top that are that were approved to fill back in 2021 were not filled because of the not demand that we have for the physical materials, as you know, our circulation has continued to increase and we balance that department. So anything with 2023 are the ones that we're sort of moving more on filling. These two positions are here because they are budgeted and they existed, but we're not yet ready. The call from circulation hasn't come back to fill those positions yet. But there are some other positions if people.
And thinking about personnel, I thought about, I wonder if they do career fairs, if there's a way for the library to even have librarians there to talk about careers in libraries for high school students at some point.
Do it.
Okay, do I have a motion, right? Motion second?
And a second.
Okay, so and all those in favor, signify by raising their hand. Okay, seeing no opposition, that motion is carried. We're going to do director's report, abbreviated director's report.
I'm not even gonna, I'll go, it's there, you can read it, there's lots of good stuff going on, right now. So many, positive programs, it's nice to really, I'm gonna sum this up with one sentence. I know some people don't like me to talk about the pandemic. This is the first summer reading program that feels essentially like we felt before the pandemic. So the numbers are up in the summer reading program, the number of kids in the library, people participating, just very heartening for me as a person in the library every day to see. So.
And is that report online in case the public actually wants to read
It
it?
is.
I should say actually, in case the public wants to read it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. Any questions for Jeff? Okay, UHSLS.
Not much to report at this point because we're meeting on Wednesday and I haven't met yet.
Okay, we are going to table the architecture presentation
Yes.
for tonight. Any other new business?
There is another new business, and that is, we have put for you a potential resolution in place, for Harmeet, in recognition of his 10 years on the board. And so that is under other new business.
Yeah, great. I mean, he did serve 10 terms as a great board member, asked a lot of great questions, so I fully support this resolution.
Need a motion?
Yes.
Yes.
any motion.
I make a motion to accept the resolution. Harmeet.
Second.
Second, okay, all in favor, signify by raising your hand. Okay, that motion is carried.
And if anyone wants to see it, you can.
Yeah,
see
we
it.
have a
It's
nice,
pretty.
Yes,
deliver that to him.
okay.
And I know he doesn't like recognition, but he's getting it anyway.
He's gonna get it anyway, exactly. Okay, other new business? Old business, is there anything related to the plaza we need to talk about?
Just we're still waiting on a couple estimate numbers from the highway department, but I am in frequent communication with our friends across the street, so I still am hopeful that that's gonna work out.
Okay. Policy committee, there's a internet policy second read, page 34.
Yeah, this came before the board last month for any revisions. I don't believe any were submitted.
No,
Okay.
Make a motion to accept the revised internet access policy. And second.
Second, great discussion. All in favor, signify by raising your hand. Seeing no opposition, that motion will carry. The next piece is the gifts memorial. That's quite not quite ready. A lot of work's been done on it. I appreciate that. But
Yeah, so you might be seeing a copy between now and August. Use the comment section to guide you through the areas we want you to look at.
okay. Any other old business?
I have just a couple small pieces of old, couple of pieces of old business. I met today with John McPhillips from, no, yes? Yes, okay, good. I thought I messed the name up because I'm frequently doing that. At the Bethlehem School District, we have traditionally had standing a memo of understanding between the school district and the library about pilot agreements and our agreement to pay back the tax certiorari. For those of you who have been on the board longer, I see you're nodding your heads. It hasn't come up for a long time because it's just there. I just got it today. We haven't had it reviewed by our attorney. I just want to let you know that's coming. We'll be voting on it. The school district will also be voting on it. That's going to come up in their agenda because we're out of our agreements and pilots are coming up. Those pilot payments are coming in. So it's in everybody's interest if we get that passed. So it's non-controversial. I'll explain it more to you. I will talk about everything you want to talk about, but we need to have our attorney look at it before we do anything.
Sounds good.
And the only other thing is just about the gifts and memorials policy. I have a request from a patron who's interested in sponsoring a program series that hasn't come up since we've been under discussion with our policy. So I'm going to get back to her and say, we hear you, you're on our docket, we'll talk about this, but I think we need to have our policy in place before we.
And I think depending on the board feedback, that policy be up for first review by September.
Yeah.
Okay, future business, director evaluation timeline and process.
I can table that till August, just we'll put the timeline up for email or.
I have copies for everyone.
Okay, look at that. If you have any changes, let us know. It's the same as last year. If you have any suggestions for the change in the process, please come to the August meeting to discuss those so that we can have it in place by September. The whole thing kicks off in October.
Okay, any other business people want to talk about? All right, future business, old business, new business. Okay, I will call for public participation. Any other public participation? Seeing no one,
Can I make one comment? Sorry. I just want to appreciate the nominating committee for their work and for our fellow trustees for your trust in us going forward.
okay, great.
Oh, right, give me a second. All right. Well, I got some emails. Okay.
There was a lot of scrolling.
I got a comment from Laura Rabinow, as a resident of Delmar, an LGBTQ parent, as the parent of a young child who loves our library, wholeheartedly support Drag Story Hour at our local public library. Drag Story Time is tailored to the ages of attendees, children, and who public performance space at the public library. As I understand it, Drag Storytime performers have experience with early literacy concepts and are well versed in presenting age-appropriate material to children in a library setting. Drag Storytime belongs in our library. In addition to being an art form, drag is a beautiful and fierce act of resistance and resilience in the face of very real potential dangers. Part of the reason I moved to Delmar is because I understood it to be welcoming, inclusive, and friendly community. It is the community I seek to live in and support for the upcoming program. Next. Gianna Aieza, I'm writing to support the library drag story hour. Please don't cancel this event. Do the right thing and continue with it. So wonderful and needed. Please keep the story hour. And I apologize in advance for folks whose names I am mangling. Barb Rigel, I applaud the library for bringing diverse programs into our library, into our town. We need to welcome people from different beliefs and backgrounds and social structures. I'm sorry I could not attend the board meeting tonight, but I'm in complete support of the Drag Story Hour and all programs to open minds and hearts stay strong. Sarah Bickersmith, I'm a resident and parent of 2 children in Bethlehem. I want to commend and thank you for offering programs that lift diverse voices and stories. I feel it is important for children and families to be offered experiences such as your Drag Story Time. I did not grow up in a community offering programs and support the LGBTQIA+ and feel it was a loss and a lack. Thank you for the hard work it takes to push forward against hate and fear. Megan Singh, dear Board of Directors, thank you for making sure that our library remains public and open. Drag entertainers are no different than any other entertainers that we are hosting at our library. Please continue with your mission to provide uncensored access to information and offering diverse perspectives and experiences. I was unable to attend the meeting, but wanted to support in any way I could. Sincerely, Megan. Chris Canjano. My name is Chris Canjano. I am the executive pastor at King's Chapel in Claremont. I've been a resident of Bethlehem since 2000. My wife and I are raising our 3 children here. So I speak as someone who has love and investment in our community. Let me begin as saying that I love the Bethlehem Public Library. I've spent many days here and brought my children here on many occasions to enjoy the space, the books, and programs. This is a great place for discovery and learning and reading and writing, entertainment, and it fosters appreciation for history, culture, and the arts. Oh, he was here. Okay, great. That's wonderful. Okay, so I will add that to the official record. Caitlin Carroll, thank you for picking that up. I wasn't able to attend the board meeting tonight, so I'm writing in support of the Drag Story Hour scheduled for Thursday. Drag Story Hours, like all read aloud events, invite children to join the love of literacy. Children's literature can act as a mirror and as a window, and for many children who are white, cisgender, straight, and have straight cisgender parents, storybooks act as a mirror reflecting their own world experience back at them. However, it is crucial that children also have a chance to for literature to be a window into their experiences other than their own. For children who are part of the LGBTQIA+ community, and for those with queer family members, and Drag Story Hour gives them a chance to experience story time as a mirror into their own lives, a common experience for those not minoritized groups. With the growing instance of hate and discrimination against the LGBTQIA+ community, I'm proud to see my local library support diversity and inclusion in this way. Thank you for scheduling the Story Hour. I urge the library to keep this event as scheduled, despite outcries from disgruntled community members who quite likely are used to events and literature being mirrors and not windows into the lives of others. Trying to go as fast as I can, guys. Robin Suter, I am writing to voice my support of the library's upcoming Drag Story Hour program. Was not able to attend tonight's board meeting, but I learned that many people came to speak out against the program. I hope that the library does not have to cancel the Story Hour. People can choose not to attend if they don't like the idea of the program. I applaud the library for being open-minded and inclusive in its decision to hold the program. Robin Suter. Nancy Haas, as a Bethlehem resident and parent, I fully support the Drag Story Hour. We cannot let small-minded loudmouths decide on what is moral. Thank you for supporting this and hope it is a great success Thursday, Nancy Haas. Kara Kennedy says, I'm writing in support of the library hosting a Drag Story Time. I would like to live in a community where compassion and tolerance are valued. Thank you. And finally, Willow Bear says, good evening. I wanted to reach out. Thank you for supporting a drag story hour at the library with so much hate and acrimony happening all over the country. It is a relief to know that our public services in Bethlehem remain steadfast in their inclusivity. I appreciate you today and all days, and I am sorry for whatever unreasonable, uneducated blowback I know you are enduring. With gratitude, Willow Bear. And okay, I have note from Christina Hoffman, who I replied to with a request for reconsideration, I think, just earlier today, and she says she's going to appeal to the trustees. Got an email from the information desk from Robin Suter, who we already got a hold of, and that is it. It's as fast as I can.
There's nothing else to be. I just checked the.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I would like to make a motion to go into executive session to talk about the vacant position of the library board.
So what your suggestion is we go into executive session for the purposes of discussing the qualifications of an individual person.
That's correct.
Okay. That's what I.
So I'll make a motion to do that.
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor, signify by raising your hand. Okay.